Hey there guys, it's Salis, and today I have the pleasure of announcing to the YouTuberverse, Mushroom 11. I'm bad at this. Mushroom 11, as you may remember, I covered it in EGX. It's made by Untamed Games, and much like the titular mushroom, it can cause a voyage to Trip Out City. The setting for Mushroom 11 is a post-apocalyptic world in which the only surviving creatures are hideous mutated monstrosities, a fungal colony, and jellyfish for some reason. As with so many games with this setting, there is an overwhelming amount of brown and grey on display. Boo! But that's not the be-all and end-all of this game's colour scheme. There's plenty of colour variation in this game. Yay! But I can see why boring colours were used in this case. You see, the mushroom is of course the focus of the game, and its vibrant green needed to stand out along with the yellows, oranges and blues of the other plant life, checkpoints and enemies. Because this game focuses on speed and momentum for getting through much of it, and as such, aspects need to stand out a lot more than, say, background art. And as you should have come to expect from a game with an emphasis on speed, it is in the field of animation where this game gets judged most harshly. It runs at 60 frames per second, providing some very nice looking animations, although if I had to nitpick I would say it would be nice to have a uncapped frame rate, but that's just me being an ass. The movement employed by this game's character moves in almost every direction at once, and so far I've only ever seen very smooth animations, and they only become more impressive when moving through tighter than average area, for a reason that will probably make itself evident through this video. But the player character is not the only thing that can be examined here. Enemy animation and environment animation also need to be looked at. While much of the environment is left as it was, so to speak, there are areas of the world such as waterways, lava pools and the machines left running, which look beautiful, especially the water and the checkpoint flowers, which look to themselves especially beautiful. Another beautiful element in this game is the music, which is deliberately underplayed and uses the right notes and tempo to suggest a sense of loneliness and despair of an actual apocalypse without so much as a single zombie for company. And is accompanied equally well by the sound effects. The sounds of the various mechanisms civilization left behind are recreated rather well, but still manage to stand out from the backing music, much in the same way that they stand out from nature, further enforcing the organic nature of the music of an organic note of the fungus. And the fungus has its own interesting repertoire of sound. As you go through the game, there are enemies to deal with, and as a vast colony of fungal spores, you just kind of absorb their DNA into your amorphous mass. And as you do, the sound really does sound like the idea of something absorbing into another creature, and compels us to absorb more to further the story of the mushroomoid creature. I'm not going to give any kind of spoiler alert here because I'm not going to comment on this game's story for the following reasons. Firstly, I have not yet finished this game because it gets very tricky and I'm not good at puzzles. And secondly, because the story is all in the background. There are no exposition dumps in this game, which is a good thing. So, well done there, Untamed. And thirdly, because this game emphasises speed and as such the story will just fly past you on your first time through. But I will say this much. Having the story revealed in an organic way like this, no pun intended, is the best way to handle story. Forcing exposition can be very distracting from the actual game, so a big happy face stamp there, well done. The gameplay itself consists of two controls, both mapped to the mouse, so it's a nice change to have a free hand for a cup of tea and a smoke, while I'm bashing my head against a puzzle for the 90th time that hour. The fungus is moved, so to speak, by the cells at the back of its mass dying, or to use the game's term, being erased, and the replacement cells growing at the front end of the creature. This allows the fungus to fit into narrow tunnels, fill boxes, and even split in half to hold down a switch to let the front part through a door. And it's this movement system that provides the basis of everything, from puzzles where you have to hang onto a rope by wrapping around a knot, to climbing a moving enemy to absorb its brain. The versatility of this movement and the fluidity of the colony has provided some truly innovative gameplay options. However, that's not all it has. It also has another string to its bow in the form of physics. It's entirely possible, and indeed necessary at times in this game, to create a wide, thin colony to reach the other side of an obstacle, as well as using counterweight mechanics, by making one side of you heavier than the other to drag an object over a cliff, create a swinging motion, or to use gravity to just increase the terminal velocity of the mushroom as it hits something. And it's the fusion of these two fairly simple elements. They go a long way to create something unique and improve on each of them. However, the controls are a massive letdown for me. The left mouse button is used to eliminate large amounts of cells at a time for fast movements, while the right is used for fine deletion to fit a specific shape. But in order to use either and to keep up the momentum, it requires the player to move the hand back and forth rather quickly, and even though I've had a lot of practice in this field, after about an hour or so, it caused some quite painful wrists. As a result of this, I haven't been able to play for anything longer than half an hour at a time, something which I think would probably be more manageable if this supported controller input. But as it stands, long-term play is not safe, at least not for me. Your mileage may vary. Replay value in this game can be found in the form of, first of all, trying to go through slower and get more of the story, or trying to shoot for some of the harder achievements which requires you to get through an entire level without dying, or you could try for some of the bonus objectives or better times. For example, there are many creatures scattered throughout the levels which aren't enemies and not required for level completion in the slightest, which can at times be tucked away in a completely different direction to the way you were heading. So this game seems to have added something for almost all types of player, from story hounds like me to speedrunners and 100% completionists too. But I think there are likely to be very few people out there who will go for all three. So, to conclude this ramble, Mushroom 11 is an interesting little puzzle platformer with some truly innovative mechanics and ideas, sadly let down by its painful controls. And that being said, I would have to give Mushroom 11 6 out of 10. So thank you all for watching, let me know what you think in the comments below. And until we meet again, I've been Salis. How fast is your fungus? And I'll see you next time.